Well, it has been a long time since I have done an episode like this, but in today's video I'll be doing a third part of the most wanted updates in War Tycoon, where in today's video I'll be going through your update ideas, which many of you guys have left in the Gizmotech Discord server, and of course the most liked ones I will be going through, and I'll also be leaving a link in the description for the Gizmotech server, so if you guys actually have a suggestion and want me to go through it in the video, then here's your chance. Alrighty, so the first suggestion of the day, let's check it out. Now, my suggestion is a boat where you can only land on and you can't spawn where you can only land there, like on a pig. Okay, so this is kind of like an explanation that they want to have some kind of boats in the game on which we can actually have some kind of landing pad. I gotta say that the helicopter is already big enough in the game to the point where it will be really hard to implement like a ship that will be bigger than the current ship which we have right here that will allow helicopters to land on top of it. Unless we do have some kind of helicopter expansion, but that would really be difficult to implement, but I gotta say it will be really cool since they're not adding the aircraft carrier anytime soon. Okay, so next one is AH-1 for Vietnam operations. People just want some different types of helicopters which are just slightly more developed than what we currently have. Yeah, I gotta say that the current Vietnam helicopters are just, there's not too many of them, man. And overall, I feel like the Vietnam side of the game is really underrated. Even though we already have ourselves kind of like a Vietnam area, I feel like it's just simply not enough. Okay, so the next one we have ourselves is an Mi-28 emergency seat, and why not? I gotta say, I also agree with this because like having just a slight emergency seat where we could store an extra player in case, just to have for like an attack, that would be really cool, just being able to transport 3 players overall. So I'm definitely gonna give this a hands up. Alrighty, so the next suggestion over here is add tank carrying, basically just being able to carry your tanks with a helicopter, etc. That would be really cool if we were actually to have like a super stallion which could have some kind of ropes just to take a tank. Like at this point, if they're not going to be adding any type of transport helicopters which where we can put a tank inside of there, at least let us carry it in some shape or form. That would be really cool. Or even add some type of really powerful magnet, even as unrealistic as that is, it would still be really cool. Okay, so the next one we have over here is buff the Barrett M82 damage. It currently does do the same damage as the AWP, and it's so much less accurate. There's no point to buying an accurate sniper unless it's good damage. But the damage is the same as every other sniper. Yeah, I completely agree with this. This is just kind of an exemplar on how big of a difference the Barrett ammunition is from the actual AWP ammunition. Like, that is an absolutely huge difference. I really do feel like the Barrett, even though it has been buffed in terms of accuracy, I believe the damage should be even greater than it currently is. I guess it would be very realistic, which is something that War Tycoon hasn't been doing for weapons recently, but it would be really cool if the Barrett was to be slightly more realistic in terms of that. Okay, so the next one here we have add a flare gun that you can shoot into the sky so your friends can pick you up. Maybe make it red, blue, or green. Any color is fine, but red will make sense. Yeah, this is kind of like a perfect explanation. I'm not going to be reading further, but I absolutely get the point. But I feel like instead of making this flare gun actually allow our friends to pick us up, I think it would be much cooler if we do have ourselves a custom pickup system where we could just fire the flare, and then basically like an AI helicopter will pick us up. It's just such a better way to actually transfer, because currently it's just so annoying that we just have to reset after we get lost in the desert, man. Alrighty, so the next one is KF-51 Panther, speed 3 bars, health 2 bars, and firepower 3 bars. It's going to be having 2 seats, 1 30mm cannon, 1 explosive shoot per 1.5 milliseconds, 1 bullet every 0.5 milliseconds, and then a maximum speed of 70. I feel like the maximum speed of 70 would just totally not work, because that's just way too big for a tank, man. I feel like tanks just shouldn't be able to go this speed, especially in War Tycoon. So personally, I believe the speed should be 55 and everything else should stay the same. Like, man, the Panther would actually be really cool. Okay, so the next one which we have over here is make the VCSC Mephisto to be able to go on water because it has propellers. It will be really cool. Yeah, I totally agree. It would be really cool if they actually make a lot of vehicles be able to go on water, but again, we are still waiting for the amphibious support, which is still taking a little bit to implement, but hopefully it's gonna be coming really soon. Oh, once again, we do have ourselves a suggestion is to add the UAV. Yeah, man, everybody just wants this, man. Okay, so the next one which you have over here is add external fuel tank to the mouse. I would actually really want this, and I believe that more tanks in the game should actually have their weak spots, just as much as we do have some type of weak spots, but the knowledge there for most players is just not there, man. I feel like just adding some kind of weak spots to tanks overall would really be cool, because if you could explode like a fuel tank after damaging it enough, so the mouse basically has to protect it while fighting you, that would be a really cool mechanic as well. Okay, so next up, give anti-air vehicles a radar to make spotting aircraft a little easier. Man, a radar in the game will be so much cooler, considering they are already adding like a brand new feature to the tanks where we have like a different zoom, and it looks a lot more realistic than what we currently have. So just adding a radar for our vehicles would also be extremely cool. Okay, so the next one we have over here, the Su-27, I believe to counter the F-45's absurd turn rate and maneuverability, the Su-27 will be an amazing free-to-play aircraft that could either be unlocked via levels or an operation. These are the stats. I really do like this idea. I feel like the Su-27 flanker will be so good to be in the game. I don't really get why the devs are adding a lot of vehicles which we don't actually ask for. I feel like just adding something like the Su-27 would be so much better than adding the stuff that they have been adding recently. Just as cool as it is, I feel like just adding this will be much cooler. Okay, so here is another suggestion. A person is just asking to fill this empty spot in the base. I gotta agree, this spot is absolutely useless, and adding some type of way to actually hear your tanks or just ground vehicles would be really cool by having some kind of repair station, man. Like, we've been waiting for this for so long, and it's just such a simple addition. I bet it doesn't even take this long to program. Okay, so next up we have ourselves upgrading to binoculars would have the greatest zoom in the game. You would be able to zoom in and there have thermal vision or mark the distance. Man, I feel like just adding this would be so good, especially if you could be able to also cooperate with your teammates by just being able to mark something, and then your teammates could also see it after you mark it if you're, let's say, in the same faction. That would also be a really cool idea. Okay, so the next suggestion which I see over here is increase probabilities after making a certain number of spins. Yes, man, I don't know why they are not increasing probabilities. I have literally spent thousands of Robux in order to be able to get the stuff like the op. I spent around 10k for the op, and then I spent 2k to try to get the Lavad, and then after that I have just not been able to get it, so I just gave up and I got it after like 100 days or something, man. It's been absolute pain to get these bad boys, so I feel like the chances should slightly increase after every single spin we do, so we actually do have a bigger chance to get something there. Okay, so the next one which we have over here is bring back the Emerald Boxer as a free-to-play vehicle. We miss it. I totally agree, however they would have to really rework the way that this Emerald Boxer actually works, because the version that it's in right now, it just doesn't really get the job done. Next off over here we have ourselves add helmets for jets. Totally agree with this. I don't know why they didn't add this, because there's just so much place to actually fill in the plane area, but they just really don't add this much. I feel like the plane area is actually really empty, except the fact we do have a lot of planes, but just being able to kind of decorate this bunker inside while adding more items would also be really cool. Okay, so next up is one of my favorite suggestions, in fact, add weather such as rain, snow, thunder, etc. You cannot tell me it wouldn't be sick to fly an A-10 Warthog for a thunderstorm. Man, I totally agree, that would be so cool to have. I feel like the reason why they didn't actually add this is because the game would be laggy, and that's something that the developers likely say, such as for also not being able to add like an interior inside of tanks. But please, War Tycoon devs, add a weather once you do actually add a new map. It would just be so cool. Anyways, guys, this is all I'm gonna have for you guys in today's video as of now. Let me know in the comment section down below what you also think was the best suggestion out of this whole video. And for the ones wondering why I haven't been reading out the full messages for some of these suggestions, the reason why I say is because some of them are just way too long, and I know most of you guys would probably not be able to sit through it, so just me giving you an easier explanation would definitely get the job done.